The woman was extremely thirsty, but instead of drinking the half bottle of water she poured it all over her face. She then stood on a high spot and began licking the rainwater that seeped through the iron sheet. However, the rust-tainted rainwater was far from clean, and soon she started to gag. In reality, she had been trapped in this shipping container for an entire week. To make matters worse, the container was surrounded by the vast ocean, with seawater seeping in through the cracks. Just as she was about to give up hope, she felt droplets of water on her face. Looking up, she saw that it had started to rain heavily outside. The woman, in disbelief, stood up and began collecting the rainwater in all the containers she could find, hoping to store as much fresh water as possible. But she knew it wouldn't last long. The most pressing issue was to get out of the container. Unfortunately, the electric drill she had quickly ran out of power, leaving her with no hope of escape. In frustration, she began smashing things around her, and by chance, she found a file. The saw-like blade of the file gave her a glimmer of hope. However, the file was far less effective than the drill. Not only did it fail to cut through the container, but she also injured her hand in the process. Her body was already at its limit due to dehydration. At that moment, she remembered the uneaten placenta. Desperate to survive, she decided to eat it. The next day, she came up with a brilliant idea to escape. The container now had a large gap on one side. She thought she could pull it open like a can lid. She inserted a strap into the gap, grabbed it tightly with both hands, and pulled with all her might. Gradually, the gap widened. Finally, she threw her entire body weight onto it, and the iron sheet gave way. The long-awaited sunlight shone on her face. However, her joy was short-lived. When she emerged from the container, she found herself alone in the vast ocean, with only the container in sight. But she didn't give up. She wrote many SOS messages, placed them in food containers, and threw them into the sea, hoping a passing ship would see them. As time passed, the water level inside the container rose dangerously close to the critical point, making it uninhabitable. The woman had no choice but to move outside with her child. Suddenly, she spotted a plane flying overhead. She quickly went back into the container, removed a piece of glass from the TV screen, and in the process, cut her thigh. Ignoring the pain, she raised the glass, hoping to catch the plane's attention with the reflected light. But the plane didn't see her. Her thigh wound had worsened. She had to return to the container, remove a hook from the electrical panel, take a swig of alcohol, and, gritting her teeth against the pain, poured the liquor onto the wound before using the hook to stitch it up. Finally, overwhelmed by the pain, she passed out.